live now on the old YouTube. So if there's anybody actually, wanted to get on this and talk with us, that's welcome. But anyway, we're doing best in show, and as you can see from the banner here, if you're watching on YouTube or if you looked at the episode description, we're doing Curb Your Enthusiasm against Veep, two of HBO's best sitcoms ever. And we're both, like Dave said, huge fans of each of them. We have no time to waste here. If you haven't listened to a Best in Show before, this is how they work. We do 3 different categories. We do episodes. We pick 16 or so of the best episodes. We put them into it, literally put them into hats, which are right next to me. And because if they're the best episodes, they should be able to stack up against each other. So we just pick them randomly, talk a little bit about them. Dave and I each can give them points, and then we tally them up at the end. And it's the most objective, subjective way to decide which is truly best in show. So we do episodes, we do characters, and we do random questions. I think, Dave, our random questions are probably the best ones we've ever had. I think these are actually probably the most defined ones we've ever had.
Yeah, these ones are pretty good. I think quality more than quantity this time. Sometimes we have like 30, 40 questions.
Yeah.
This time we probably have 10, 15, but they're all really good.
Yeah, they're all to the point. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with episodes, if that's cool with you, Dave.
Sounds good.
All right. So like I said, what we're going to do is I'm going to literally pick them out of a hat. Dave's going to tell you a little bit about the Curb episode. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Veep episode. And we're each going to assign it episodes. You get 5 points each. Characters get 4 points each. And random questions are 3 points each. So that's all you need to know. I'll try to do a score update here and there at the end of every round. So Dave, are you ready to begin?
Let's do it.
All right, Dave. Our first Veep episode is, I'm going to pick the Curb one too. Really, really good drama. All right. Dave, our first Curb episode is season 2, episode 7, The Doll. And our first Veep episode is season 5, episode 2, Nevada. So Dave, tell us a little bit about The Doll.
Well, the best thing you need to know about this, first of all, this is Julie Dreyfus in this episode, and they pitch a show to ABC. But the best part is Larry ends up trying to cut the doll's hair off.
That's right. Yeah.
And then they get mad that they ruined it, so they go to Jeff's daughter's collection, and he makes it worse because he rips off the head off the doll, and Susie freaks out on him because there's just a doll, like a body with no head, in Sammy's collection, which is Jeff's daughter. So the whole episode is based on that, and it's absolutely hysterical.
So the episode that I have here is Nevada, which the synopsis of this one is Dan and Amy supervise a recount in Carson City, Nevada, hoping the recount will go statewide in an effort to win Selena the presidency. Selena gets intimate with a member on her new banking task force. I believe that is John Slattery's character. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but this introduces us, I believe, to Bob Bradley, the Eagle, who ends up being absolutely out of his mind. I do like Nevada. And honestly, we know that Julia Louis-Dreyfus wins this no matter what because she's in The Doll. So, but I do remember The Doll making quite the impression because there's the end of it where Jeff and Larry are in the room, and it's an incredible scene. I do like Nevada a lot. It is a great episode, but I do think I'm gonna have to lean The Doll.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a show.
Yes, thank you.
Both of these shows are ones I love. Like almost every episode, I can barely think of any that I don't like. Maybe Curb recently, the last season with the Bot Wild was not really my favorites storyline. I'm gonna go with The Doll. I just think it's too funny, and you can literally anytime there's an episode where Susie gets to like yell all the time, it makes it a lot funnier at Larry. So I'm gonna go with The Doll.
All right, Dave. It's a win. It's a win across the board for Curb to start. Next up, we have the finale, Veep, season 7, episode 7. And then we have, Happy New Year, season 10, episode 1. So for me, as I do love Happy New Year. It's a great episode, and it's a great concept of like how long can you go actually saying Happy New Year before it just loses all meaning. Larry going after the woman on the treadmill and like throughout the episode, just continuously saying like, should you really be doing that when you're pregnant? And she's just like Larry, I know my body, like let me do what I'm doing, like please. That being said, there's no shot it was going to be the series finale of Veep. One of the best endings, I think, of any show I've ever seen.
Yeah. Damn shame because Happy New Year. I thought this season was outstanding of Curb. Peak Larry David, peak pettiness. and I love like the spite stores and the lunch and the misunderstandings and the texting and
Yeah, we'll get to Mocha Joe later.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, like you said, the final episode of Veep, you got to go with that.
I think one of my favorite moments from that last episode of Veep is Uncle. Oh my God, Uncle Jack, right? It's Uncle. Oh my God,
Oh God, yeah.
It's been too long. I love Uncle Jack so much. He's one of my favorite characters in the show.
Jeff.
Uncle Jeff, damn it. I know a certain friend of mine is going to be pissed off and text me that I got that name wrong. But yes, Uncle Jeff, who is one of the best side characters on the show, to be honest. I think he might be the best side character on the show.
I love how he just comes on and he like pretends like he runs everything because he can get votes in New Hampshire.
He has one of the best laughs in TV history, no doubt about it. But I love the scene where Uncle Jeff and Selena are are just yelling at Jonah for him to take the vice presidency, and he just loses it. His whole arc in the last season, where he's like married to his sister, and he becomes like an actual like broker of power, and like trying to, he becomes actually a valuable tool, literally a tool, because like he doesn't do anything, he's just there. But and he ends up getting impeached. We find out many years later. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the best finales I've ever seen. So it's got to win.
Yeah, they did a great job wrapping up the storyline with a shorter season, so it made it a little tougher for them, I think. But
yeah, it's true.
It was a really good season.
Yeah, certain friend of mine said I'm disappointing her, so I'm sorry. I wish I could be. Well, you've got those points. So here we go, Dave. Next up, we have season 4, episode 5, Convention, up against season 6, episode 6, The Rat Dog.
The Rat Dog. Oh my God. Yeah.
Tell us about the Rat Dog, Dave.
So there's a cell phone swap where Larry ruins Loretta, who's I believe Leon's sister. Ruins her chances at a job. Larry also, he offends a deaf woman, comparing her dog to a rat. He says the dog is a rat. It's a really, really funny episode because the woman gets like super offended that he called the dog a rat, even though honestly it kind of did look like a rat, the way that it was just how it was built with little fur and very small. And then he insults her husband, who is in the bathroom as like one of those people that gives out like the mints and stuff, and he uses the automatic dryer. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this episode, but it's really funny. And this is also, I believe, season 6 is the first season where we meet the Blacks, which is Leon. So a very important season.
We'll be touching on Leon later, that's for sure. So this episode, Convention, has a couple of very important plot points in it. So the synopsis is hours before the party convention, Selena struggles to find a replacement as Doyle announces he's leaving the ticket. Dan works with Jonah and Richard for a client. So this episode, we get Tom James, Hugh Laurie as the vice president for Selena Meyer, and Amy gets fired. And Kent becomes the new campaign manager. A lot of important things happen in this episode. I think I'm going to side with this episode. I think it's such a pivotal moment in the season. Veep has such like Curb, it's usually like 8, 9, 10 episodes, and this is one of those linchpin, turning point episodes of the season where something really important happens. And after this, we see Tom James's star starts to rise, and we see that he and Selena have a very complicated relationship. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Convention. I don't know about you.
I'm gonna go with Convention as well. I like Rat Dog a lot, but
I'm sorry, Amy quit. I have my fact checker coming at me here.
Yeah, I like the episode where Amy quits and basically tells off Selena. I personally, I think that was a funny part in the episode. I think her just going off was, I don't like Amy as a character, but I thought that was funny.
I'm getting torn apart here, and I so badly want to spite this friend and just pick the episode for Curb, but I'm gonna stick to my guns.
I honestly, I wish I could go with the Curb episode. I love Rat Dog, but I can't go again.
Yeah, I know it was a huge plot point. All right, give me a break. I remember Tom James walking out the elevator. Give me a break, okay?
And then he's like they play it off really well, like, or they write the script really well, where he comes off and he starts talking to everyone and everyone likes him.
Yeah, they have I like how their relationship ends up. I'd love to read a lot of quotes from Veep, but I literally can't do that. So
yeah, we can't say any quotes with Veep.
No, really, I can't. Like, I was looking down the list from that episode, and I'm like, I'd love to say this. I was like, I can't say that. I was like, I'd love to say this. Like, I can't say that.
Everything, for anyone that hasn't seen it or for has only seen a little bit, anything you can imagine, multiply that times like 100.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, Dave, next up, we have Season 6, Episode 1, Omaha, up against Season 3, Episode 7, Corpse Sniffing Dog. Dave, tell us a little bit about Corpse Sniffing Dog.
So this is when Larry is actually trying to open up a restaurant, and he finds a chef, and I believe the chef has Tourette's. So he starts like screaming. No. This is the chef that's bald. He hires him because he's bald. The Tourette's chef is different, I think. Then the floorboards, they have a problem with the floorboards. The opening date's coming closer, and they have to delay the opening. And then Sammy, who's Jeff's daughter, they give the dog away because of her allergies. And then Larry has to somehow get the dog back from Stu, which is, I believe, his friend. Stu's only in like 2 episodes, I think, in the entire series. But it's a really funny episode. I'm trying to think of. I don't think this is the episode with the Tourette's. I think that's a later episode in the season.
Yeah. So that's a good one. That's a good one. My episode is Omaha, which is the season 6 premiere. 1 year after losing the presidency, Selena tries to secure her legacy. Dan tries to ingratiate himself at his new job, and Amy's brash DC-style personality proves too much for her new coworkers. So Amy is working for Buddy Calhoun. I got that right. I know that one. I know he's a person. He's an idiot also. And this is kind of like Selena trying to reestablish her reputation and get back onto the scene. And this is the episode, if I'm not mistaken, where, and I know if I get it wrong, I'm going to get needle if I get it wrong, but I believe this is the one where Selena, yeah, exactly. So Selena announces her plans to run again. And I believe it was met with tears and anger and frustration from her entire family. But it is a key season to kind of getting her back up and getting her acumen back up and reestablishing that national reputation she had. So I am also going to side with this episode because I think it's a very important moment in the arc of the show.
I'm gonna actually go against you for the first time. I go Dog. I like that Jeff and Larry work together to kind of like get Jeff like back in the good graces, which it seems like he's always kind of trying to in the show. Like Jeff's always in the doghouse, and I just think it's really funny that Susie like immediately when there's a problem, like Jeff leaves. It's like, and like no one else like even bats an eye. Larry's just like, okay. Yeah.
The episode's not on the docket here, but I love in season 10 when they plan a trip to golf. I forget where it was, but they plan a golf trip. Pebble Beach. They want to go to Pebble Beach. And with Vince Vaughn and Richard Lewis. And he drops off Susie at the airport. She's like, "What's that face?" And he's like, "Nothing." She goes, "Get in the car. We're going home." "I'm not going. I'm not going." Yeah. And then they all get on him for it. And it's like, well, you don't do a smirk when she's like, she knows you're happy she's going. Well, you don't need to do that. And they all end up backing out. I think that's the same. I'm getting way off track. That's the same episode where isn't that the same episode where Richard Lewis does the play and he gets diarrhea from the licorice?
Oh my god, I think it is. Yeah, and
that's an incredible moment. Oh my god, Larry's like, "You ate the whole tin?" Like, yeah, okay.
And he's sitting in the stands. You're just like, oh, okay.
All right, Dave. Next up, we got. Oh boy, this is a wash, right? This is a win right here. Season 3, episode 8, Crazy Eyes Killer, up against Season 2, episode 1, Iowa. So a season premiere up against Crazy Eyes Killer. Dave, Crazy Eyes Killer, I believe, is an Emmy-winning episode.
It's literally amazing. This is when I believe it's Chris Williams as the rapper.
The guy from Dodgeball, right?
Yeah, and he's the guy from Dodgeball, exactly. And he tells Larry's secret.
Season 7, episode 1. I can't read my own damn handwriting.
You're good. We all knew.
I don't think anybody knew.
Which
except for our one viewer.
that's
Go on. Go on.
That's true. This is when Chris Williams, who's the rapper, is dating Wanda Sykes, and she finds out he's cheating on her and dumps him, and it's kind of Larry's fault because he told Cheryl, even though he told Larry not to tell anything. And then Larry has to get into the jacket from Martin Scorsese's film because Cheryl threw the other one away, and he was like freaking out. So he borrows Chris Williams' jacket, and then he blames Larry for him getting dumped by Wanda Sykes because he put it together that Larry told Cheryl and Cheryl told Wanda. Right. And literally, the relationship between Chris Williams and Larry is just so funny.
Yeah. So I think that one's going to win. I'll just read the Iowa synopsis just for whatever. I like how the synopsis includes season premiere. Like, we couldn't gather that from the fact it's the first episode. Selena evaluates her past and present campaigns. Jonah's personal life sparks interest among the press, and Amy makes an important decision. This may have been before this episode, but I love that he hires Teddy on his campaign, even though Teddy is like the worst person to have around Jonah, Patton Oswalt's character.
Yeah.
Also, he marries his sister, which is insane. And this is the season where Jonah just goes completely off the rails, and he's like supporting really ridiculous concepts and ideas, but it works with a certain sect of people, so he actually becomes valuable. But this is a fairly controversial episode because Amy reveals to Dan in the season finale in season 6 that she's pregnant with his kid, and they end up getting an abortion in this episode. This is kind of what it makes Veep interesting, is that like in a lot of other shows you'd have this reconciliation. These two people would come together to form a bond and a relationship and do something good. And in this show, they're just not good people. So they can't work together. So they know they know what they need to do, and they are really, really cavalier about it. That being said, Crazy Eyes Kill is probably one of the best Curb episodes ever made. So that's got to win for me.
Yeah, I'm going Crazy Eye Killer. This is an easy one for me. It's one of my favorite episodes.
Half sister. What halves? I know half sister. What half sister? Sorry, this is off the path. Sorry, I'm having another separate conversation. Amy's. Yeah, I know about that. All right, so Curb gets the dub there. Moving on. I have to pull out some other episodes literally from the hat here. All right. Next up, we got season 3, episode 8, debate. Yeah, he married his half sister. Yeah, okay. What is this? A running commentary here? Yeah, his half sister. I got it. Did Dave get a desk? Steve wants to know.
I have a desk. Yeah.
Is it new or is it just something you never used?
I just haven't used it.
Wow, there you go. Dave's at the decision desk. All right, so season 3, episode 8, debate. Up against season 4, episode 6, the carpool lane. This has got some good still images. Yeah, I know I invited you to watch it. I got it, all right? I didn't know this would be I didn't know I'd have Steve Kornacki over here telling me all the math and what I got right and wrong.
The big board?
Yeah, I'd have Steve Kornacki at the big board over here telling me what's up. Steve said he's never watched either of these shows. You never watched Curb, Steve? Seriously? I'm surprised.
He would love both of these.
But anyway, Dave, tell us a little bit about the carpool lane.
Oh, my God. This one's hysterical. He hires a prostitute to go into the carpool lane so he can save time, and he ends up like driving to the Dodgers game with the prostitute, and he ends up having to buy her like snacks and stuff because she threatens to like strip naked in the middle of the stadium. It's hysterical.
So debate is the staff prepares for the debate between Selena and her rivals. Dan returns to the office after his panic attack. Gary inadvertently tells Wendy that Ray collaborated with Selena to make decisions. I really like this episode because she goes up against all the people, like Joe Thornhill, the ex-baseball manager, which is just so perfect. Like, shouldn't have a following. He's such an idiot, but people are still listening to him for whatever reason. It is a good episode. A lot of good moments. Again, the problem with the Veep is that I can't really quote many of these things because they are a little over the line for what I would like to repeat. But We also have the eye twitch, Selena's eye twitch, which takes away from everything she's saying. It's a great episode. I'm gonna have to go with debate. I think debate's one of the 10 best Veep episodes ever made. So I gotta go with the debate.
I love the debate, but I'm going Carpool Lane because it's one of my favorite episodes. I forgot to say that this is an episode where Larry also buys marijuana for his dad that has glaucoma, and he also gets out of jury duty by referring to a black person incorrectly, and it's just like literally Larry is just the epitome of you just don't want to be him. You just don't want to be him, and it's really, really funny.
All right, next up we have the Vic Allen Dinner, Season 2, Episode 4, up against Trick or Treat, Season 2, Episode 3 from Urban Enthusiasm. So, Dave, tell us a little bit about I almost said the Vic Allen Dinner. That's my job. Tell us about Trick or Treat.
So, Trick or Treat is when Larry goes, or there's Halloween, and there's kids that I forget. Oh, he gives them a hard time because they're too old. He doesn't want to give them candy. And then they TP his house and write bald asshole on his door. So he calls the cops and he says that it's a hate crime. And one of the cops is bald and he's like, well, I'm bald. It's not a hate crime. And he's like, well, with all due respect, sir, you choose to shave your head. That's a style. This isn't a style here. This is a hate crime. So that's my favorite part of the entire episode. But that's kind of like the basic premise. I can't remember. Is this the one? I don't know if you remember. Is this the one where he like beeps at the guy in front of him and he gets out and the guy starts yelling at him?
I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's a different one.
Yeah, so Vic Allen Dinner is the one where Selena performs 50 Ways to Win in Denver, which is the parody of 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover by Paul Simon at the Vic Allen Dinner. She refers to Mike and Dan as Rogers and Hammer shit. So and maybe she wants to write a new song. But yeah, it's a good episode. She's actually a pretty good singer, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. You'd think she'd be bad at anything, but she's just not bad at anything. She's great at everything she does.
She's bad at not having flaws.
That's true. It's like Michael says. It's like Michael says.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Michael says in The Office. Like flaws. I work too hard. I care too much. Those don't sound like flaws, Michael. I think I'm gonna go with Trick or Treat though.
Yeah, I am too. I love this episode. When the first time I saw it, he started referring to it as a hate crime. I started laughing hysterically.
There we go. All right, we got a tight one so far. Next up, we got Oslo, Season 7, Episode 6, the penultimate episode of Veep, up against Season 4, Episode 9, The Survivor. I remember plot points about this episode, Dave, but refresh my memory.
This is, I believe he asks, I'll just read a synopsis of it. Yeah. Larry asks his rabbi for advice about his plan to have sex once with another woman. He's surprised the rabbi approves of it due to Sarah having allowed her husband to have sex with Hagar. I don't remember who Hagar is.
Me neither. There's a lot of characters on Curb. There's a lot of them.
I think he celebrates one of the people on the show is like a survivor, and they think they mean of like a war, or and survivor of a TV show.
Yeah. It wasn't
survivor in the TV show. Okay, yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, okay. And then the sex is with the woman that does the dry cleaning.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I remember it. And, oh my god, yeah. And then they're about to have sex and the earthquake happens and they have to leave the hotel room. And then it never happens and everything basically goes wrong. But it's a good episode. It's a very good episode, especially when you find out that like the person is from Survivor and they're not actually a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah. So the episode I have is Oslo. This is the second to last episode of Veep. Selena tries to arrange a meeting via her Finnish contact, Minna. Gary helps Catherine plan a big event. Jonah and Amy push an anti-vax message in Pennsylvania. Mike finds a new home. Richard may have an enemy. That is a real packed synopsis. There's a lot going on there. But this is the one where Selena is pretty much like she's getting, was it like, she accepts the award, right? Maya Montez trying to get reelected. There's the Peace Summit. And this is the episode where she sees someone who looks like Andrew on the streets, and it's definitely him, because there's that plot thread in this season where like he got blown up on a boat, and it was like to get rid of her problems. And I never really believed that he got blown up, and I obviously don't think he was, because we see him on the streets. I don't think he was blown up. I think he's still alive. But that was a pretty funny plot point where it's like she had him killed but didn't know, quote unquote. So this is a good episode, and it sets us up nicely for the finale. The only issue is, and I've gotten flack for this before, but I don't like Minna at all. I really don't think she adds much to the show. I don't really laugh that much when she's on screen. The only thing that's funny about her character is how much Selena just does not like her, doesn't think very highly of her. So when they're on screen together, I guess it's fine, but I just don't like Minna's character all that much. That being said, it's a good enough episode. So I'm gonna go with Veep. I think I'm gonna go with this with Oslo.
I'm gonna go with Oslo as well. I like this episode of Curb, but it's not my top choice.
All right, Dave. Let's see what we got next. We got Season 6, Episode 5, The Freak Book, up against Season 5, Episode 10, Inauguration, the Season 5 finale. So, Dave, tell us about The Freak Book.
Yeah, this is a classic one with Ted Danson. Larry gives Ted a coffee table book, and it's called Mondo Freaks, and it gets him in trouble because he shows everyone the books, and they start saying like, "Oh, you have to get out," and he ends up going in the limo, and he's driving John McEnroe, and John McEnroe, I believe, gets drunk and starts causing a big scene, and he ends up picking up a group of mourners along the way, and because John McEnroe said it was okay, and Larry's like, I really should. So there's just the Freak Book part though is really, really funny because everyone like enjoys it, but then it always ends up bad. And John McEnroe thought it was like hysterical when he looked at the Freak Book, which is
Oh, Dave froze on us. That's no good. There he is. He's back. Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. You froze on us there for a second.
What part did I miss?
You didn't miss anything. You just froze for like 2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
I'll take the baton from you. So Season 5, Episode 10, Inauguration. This is where there is a tie in the House. So it goes to the Senate, and the Senate is going to pick between Tom James and Laura Montez to be the next president. And we all think it's going to be Tom James. And so Selena essentially like grovels at his feet she wants Secretary of State. He says, Vice President, take it or leave it. So she eventually, I guess, concedes that fight and just, accepts it. What's the word I'm looking for? Reluctantly takes it. And then we end up getting a flip, and the Senate instead chooses Laura Montez, and Montez becomes the president-elect, which leaves Selena out of a job entirely, which leads us to that Season 6 where she's kind of doing a reclamation project on herself. But it is that's right. Kent tells Selena she's 43rd most liked president out of 44, just above of James Buchanan. But the thing that really stings though is that Montez gets credit for freeing Tibet and Selena doesn't, which is just terrible. It makes you feel bad for Selena, even though she's been such a god awful person pretty much this whole time. So I can't pick against Inauguration. It's probably one of my favorite episodes of Veep.
I can't pick against Freak Book, so I'm gonna go with Freak Book.
Okay. That's fine. It's a good split. We gotta split sometime. You know what I mean? All right, Dave. Next up, we got Season 4, Episode 10, Election Night, which is another season finale. Veep really did good season finales. And Season 5, Episode 7, Denise Handicapped.
Oh, my God.
So, Dave, tell us a little bit about Denise Handicapped.
So Denise Handicapped is the one where he dates a woman that's in a wheelchair, and he puts her name in the phone in his contacts as Denise Handicapped because she's in a wheelchair. And then dates. He goes to I forget what happens specifically between that. I think it's okay. So I think what happens is he ends up meeting like another woman, and she says like, "Who is that?" And it's like Denise Handicapped, and he gets caught in between a lie and like having relationships with two women. It's the fact that he puts her name in the phone book as Denise Handicapped is both relatable as far as when you meet someone, you put like a characteristic about them in their phone to help you remember, like John Carpenter. But it's like you don't actually put like handicapped in a phone. Like that's just not right.
No.
So that's one of the funnier episodes I think recently that I've seen.
Yeah. So in election night, we're on pins and needles watching the results come in, and it ends up being that Selena and her Republican opponent are tied 269 to 269. And I'm surprised nobody there kind of knows off the top of their head what happens. I think, and I know I'm going to get chastised if I get this wrong. I think Kent is the one that says what happens. And it's that the House votes state by state to elect a new president between the two of them. And if it gets tied beyond there, we learn that it will go to the Senate, and the Senate will pick one of the vice presidential candidates to be the president. And this is when Tom first floats that idea sarcastically of asking her if she wants to be the Veep. And we see their relationship really fray as we go along. But I think just kind of, and I know we're fresh off literally doing this same thing for the past week, watching results come in and just like, absorbing everything as it happens. I think I got to go with election night. These season finales are so damn good. I can't pick against them.
I'm going to go with Denise Handicap. I think it's one of the more funny moments of the entire series for me.
And I know people are thinking, well, there's probably some bias because you guys pick the episodes. But you know what? I love both. I love Curb. It's killing me to pick against these episodes.
I mean, we both love both episodes.
I don't think there'll be a problem this time. Season 7, episode 10, Seinfeld. Up against, oh my God, this is tough. Season 3, episode 9, Crate. So this is the toughest one yet. Because Crate is one of the best episodes of Veep, obviously, if it made this list. Damn. This is the penultimate episode of season 3. After Selena is caught bad-mouthing a reporter, putting the campaign in jeopardy, the team gets some unexpected news. Mike worries about balancing his work and home life. Dave, what about Seinfeld? I think people can guess what it's about, but what's Seinfeld about? This is the reunion show.
Yeah, this is the finale of the season where they do the reunion show, and you actually like have kind of like mock episodes. So anyone that's looking for what it might have been like if they kept going or doing a reunion special with Seinfeld, they already kind of did it on the show. You see all the characters: Jason Alexander, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jerry Seinfeld, Michael Richards, Wayne Knight, I believe, is there too. So you see all the Seinfeld characters, and the hope is that Larry gets to get back with Cheryl because of the Seinfeld reunion script, but he ends up screwing it up at the last minute. And Cheryl goes to Jason Alexander, not Larry, for coaching tips on acting, which upsets him. So there's a lot going on, but it's a really, really good episode.
So I don't think I can possibly pick against Craig because this has we find out that the first lady's not doing well. And essentially it's revealed that Selena is going to become the president because Hughes is going to resign and she's going to be the president. And it leads us to that scene where Gary gets a nosebleed and they're in the bathroom together and it's a very emotional scene. It's funny, but it's also very real at the same time. And it's one of those things where it breaks her away, where she's looking really poorly. Things are not looking great for her campaign, but she's going to get the benefit of being the president, at least at this point. And she'll get to kind of call the shots. But this is, I think, maybe one of the 5 best episodes of the show. And this is so hard, man. I mean, Seinfeld's one of my favorite shows of all time. I can't pick against Seinfeld. I can't. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't.
I'm gonna go with Seinfeld as well. I think that's a really, really good episode. And then you have that quote, the famous quote, do you respect wood from that episode?
That's true. Yes. Create expectations, baby. Create expectations. Anyway, moving on. We only have a few episodes left here before we move on to characters. So we'll fly through these remaining episodes. A Woman First, Season 6, Episode 9, up against Shrimp Incident, Season 2, Episode 4. Dave, tell us a little bit about the Shrimp Incident.
So the Shrimp Incident it's a really early episode, which you can kind of see when you look at the quality of the footage, and you can see how much younger Larry looks. But it's really funny. Julia Dreyfus wants to pitch a show to HBO, and Larry thinks that the HBO executive, who's Alan Wasserman, I'm not even sure I think that's the real executive. They think he stole shrimp from his Chinese food. So the whole episode is like him trying to figure out if he stole shrimp, which is literally, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Curb but you like Seinfeld, this is a plot of Seinfeld because Larry wrote both. So it's just a really, really funny episode. And you get to see Julie Louis-Dreyfus again, which is, every time she's in this show, it's really funny.
So this episode of Veep, we see Jonah gets dropped from the ticket in New Hampshire. Selena's book comes out with the really, really horrible airbrushing on the cover. Catherine is diagnosed with a quote-unquote incompetent cervix. So she's on bed rest. She ends up getting rushed to the hospital. Dave has left us. He is in the black. We don't know where he is. But when Dave does come back, I will tell him that I am going to opt. There he is. I'm going to go with the Shrimp Incident. What about you?
I'm going to go with Shrimp Incident as well. I cannot pick against this one because I was laughing hysterically when I first saw it.
All right. Let's rapid fire through these last few, huh? We got Grand Opening, Season 3, Episode 10, up against Midterm, Season 2, Episode 1. Dave, Grand Opening. This is a season finale, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is the season finale of Season 3. This is the episode I was referencing earlier from Season 3. Larry fires a chef and breaks a food critic's thumbs by accident, and the new chef hires has Tourette's syndrome. So he just starts yelling like swears and obscenities from the kitchen as he's cooking. So then at the end, to make him feel better or to make the situation lighter and not as ridiculous, everyone in the place starts yelling things.
Oh, yes. I do remember this one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember this very, very clearly. That's tough. That's going to be tough. So this episode, Midterms, Selena's party does poorly in the midterm election, though Selena has a successful campaign which she attempts to leverage into greater influence for herself. A presidential strategist named Kent Davison, with whom Selena has a troubled history, returns from an absence. Selena is assigned responsibility for foreign relations. As we'll get to in a second, Kent Davison, low-key, one of my favorite characters in the show. I love Gary Cole. Kent Davis is fantastic, too. I mean, the way he plays that character, he's so cold and calculated. He doesn't care about anything but just, like, the results, pretty much, literally.
Yeah, I think he's one of my favorite characters in the show, which, I mean, both of these shows just have unbelievable characters. But he's so funny to me. And one of my favorite moments is when he's in the basketball shorts and he's working for Jonah, and Jonah fires him, and he's like, thank God.
He sinks the shot, too, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Midterms.
I'm going to go with Midterms as well. I do like this episode, the Tourette syndrome one, but I like Midterms a little bit better.
All right, we got 3 left, Dave. We got Season 4, Episode 9, Testimony, up against Season 8, Episode 3, Palestinian Chicken, which gives us, I think, if I'm not mistaken, gives us one of the great gifts of all time.
Yes, I believe so.
This is the shrugging one, right? That's from this episode?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
This is the one where he relishes, like, his role as kind of like a social assassin. He's like the guy that's not afraid to tell people things, and people like use that to their advantage. But it's just, I think if I'm looking at episodes, this is easily a top 5 episode in the series. And I don't think anyone that's ever seen it could say otherwise. And then this whole season has a lot of really good guest stars. Like, you have Gary Cole in the season.
That's right.
And then you have Michael J. Fox, obviously, Michael McKean, and even Michael Bloomberg. So a lot of interesting guests.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. It's a good one. I'm trying to pull up. I'm getting a lot of problems with this page. season 4, episode 9, testimony. So the staff is interrogated by a congressional committee to find out who exactly is responsible for the data breach and the lobbying. So this is the episode where it's pretty much just the whole thing takes place in the courtroom. It's good. We get a lot of great commentary. Like I said, a lot of it can't exactly be repeated. The great thing is they they go through all the nicknames for Jonah. Oh my god, I literally can't say any of them. I wish I could, but a lot of them are really, really good. I could say the pointless giant. That's a good one. Jonah Ono. It's so good, dude. I love it. What was it?
Some of the best nicknames are from Uncle Jeff.
And then our boy Diedrich Bader gets thrown under the bus. Bill Erickson gets pinned with everything.
Yeah.
He's good. He's good. He's another guy that's really cold and calculated. So I am going to give it to, oh my God, Dave, I already forgot. We have Palestinian Chicken. I'm going to go with Testimony. I think it's a slightly better episode overall.
I'm going Palestinian Chicken. Easy
All
choice.
Right. Easy choice. Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Mr. Easy choice over here. All right. Oh, I picked both episodes there. All right, we got season 5, episode 7, Congressional Ball, up against season 8, episode 9, Mr. Softy. What do you got, Dave?
So this is when an ice cream truck triggers a painful childhood memory for Larry, and it impacts the softball title game. There's the therapist's fees, which Larry doesn't think he thinks the fees are too much, and then his new girlfriend has some weird travel preferences. This is probably out of all the episodes I gave you, this is probably somewhere in the middle. I would say it's a really, really good episode. I'm not sure how many did I give. I think I gave you 20, right? And we did top 16.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I would say this is a top 10 episode. It's really funny as far as just, I think certain episodes are Larry being Larry, and I think this is one of those where he just has a lot of really funny interactions, and Leon's really funny in this episode too, which to me, I think anytime it's a Leon episode, like it's a lock for me.
That is true. I'll give you credit there. That is true. Any Leon episode is a good one, but I think I have to go Congressional Ball. Just if for nothing else, her conversation with Congresswoman Nickerson at the end, which I can't repeat any of it. I wish I could. Just go watch it. Go find it on YouTube. It is one of the most. It will, even though you have no connection to these characters, even if you've never seen the show, it will still break you down inside, because it goes to show you, just even if you haven't picked it up by now, 5 seasons in, how ruthless Selena Meyer is about everything. Where it is for her end game, no matter what. Like, she will say, do whatever, and we learn, we know what she'll do, and it only gets worse going down the line. But for that reason, I'm going Congressional Ball.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mr. Softy. If it's a Leon episode, that wins for me, even though I love the characters on Veep.
Okay. Here we go. Last one. Season 1, episode 8, Tears. Up against season 9, episode 6, Accidental Text on Purpose. So I did not watch season 9, which is the Fatwa season. I did not watch it. So I have a little to offer on this one, Dave.
So this is when Richard Lewis and Marty Funkhauser both get in trouble with their new girlfriends.
Rest in peace, Marty Funkhauser.
Yes, all right, rest in peace, which brings us Vince Vaughn in the next season.
That's right. Yeah.
And also Jeff has the same issue, but Larry comes up with the accidental text on purpose, which you text someone something that you're not supposed to see, but it's a positive outcome for you. So like you text someone something and it like accidentally is like, oh, don't tell them, but I'm planning Jake a surprise party. And it's like it goes to the person.
Yeah.
But it ends up absolutely destroying all their lives. And like Susie knew all along, and she calls him out on it, and it's really, really funny. Because anytime you have to yell at Larry, like I said, it's awesome.
Yeah. So this one is Selena visits Ohio to officially endorse candidate Roger Furlong for governor. We'll get to Furlong in just a second. We'll get to him. Don't worry. But he doesn't want the low-rated vice president's support. Dan may have to go to a congressional hearing for the clean jobs bill. Mike and Amy decide to make use of Selena's emotional state. This is a good episode. And really, anytime Roger Furlong is on the screen, Roger Furlong is kind of like, not the same way, but kind of like Leon, where anytime he's on the screen, he's making you laugh, no matter what he's saying. Like, every word out of his mouth, belly laughs. And it's for different reasons. Leon is just like so ridiculous, but Furlong is so incredibly vulgar. Like, he does every word out of his mouth. He's like, it's not even thinking about it. It's just incredible. It's incredible. And we'll get to him in a second. But pretty much just for Furlong in this episode, I'm going to go with tears. I imagine you're going to go with your episode here.
I'm going to go with tears, I think. I do like accidental text on purpose. I think it's awesome. I think it's really funny when he gets called out on it and he thinks he's like a genius and solved the world's problems. But I do love Furlong. I think he's one of the better characters.
All right, Dave, let me do some quick math here. 10, 20, 25, 35. Nope, that's 30, 40, 45, 50, 60. Wow. Dave, at the end of our first round, it is an 80-80 tie. So we go to the characters now. So that's the end of episodes. Let's go to characters. Let me change our little banner here on the screen. We'll go to
the whole thing.
All right, Dave. So we'll go from the bottom to the top. Wow, dear God, why is there no person for him? Uh-oh.
I think that's Jeff.
Oh, it is Jeff. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't get rid of that. All right. Spoiler, Dave. So here we go. Let's start at the bottom. Congressman Furlong versus Mocha Joe. Not even a contest. Mocha Joe is good. He's good. But, I mean, Furlong.
Shoes.
What was it?
Mocha Joe can't even hold his shoes.
No, he can't. I mean, Furlong wins this. By the way, these are each worth 4 points each, so just so people are aware. No, it's not even a contest. I mean, Furlong is maybe the most vulgar television character I've ever seen in my life. At least sitcom character I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen The Sopranos. I'm assuming there's a lot of swearing on that show too. But for sitcom characters, he's got to be. It's clearly him. Mocha Joe, all the respect in the world, but he's only got one season, and Furlong is every time he's on screen, he's throwing 100 miles an hour. Yeah,
Furlong easily for me.
All right, that was a quick one. Moving on, Dave, we have Richard Splett versus Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
This is also a pretty easy one for me.
Yeah, it's the other way. Well, no, it's the same way. It's the same way. I think Richard Splett is easily the better character.
Oh, yeah, me too. I mean, he's also like a more recurring character, so he gets a definite advantage there.
Yeah.
Like, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is very funny, and he hits on some really good parts, but like Richard Splett is just one of the better characters that they came up with. Because he's like the complete opposite of the entire show.
And he's so pure.
Yeah.
He's just so, like, there's nothing really corrupted about him. And even when he becomes the president in 2 terms, he's, like, beloved, elected in landslides. And I'm like, he's one of the few characters in the show where you see his trajectory and you're genuinely happy for him. And he's also hysterical. So Richard Splett, without a doubt, no doubt, the winner here. Catherine Meyer versus Wanda Sykes. This one's also easy for me, but the other way.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I don't like Catherine Meyer.
She's one of the main characters that I just, whenever she's on the screen, just doesn't. She's kind of funny early on, but as it gets later, she becomes less humorous.
I think Marjorie, her partner, is funnier.
Yeah, I love Marjorie.
I just don't like Catherine Meyer.
Yeah, Marjorie. Do they get married? I forget.
I think they do get married towards the end, towards the last.
If I'm wrong, I'm gonna hear it, so I hope we're right. But I think they do get married too. But it just becomes a little over the top for me. Catherine's hate towards her mom. She definitely is very much. It's justified. It is. Yeah. But it takes a little bit away from the story as we go along. So yeah, we're both in Wanda Sykes camp. Wanda Sykes, great. She's fantastic. Ben Cafferty versus Marty Funkhauser. This is tough.
I think this is pretty easy for me.
Oh, I think we're gonna disagree.
I'm taking Ben here.
Okay, good. I'm taking Ben too. No disrespect to Marty Funkhauser. Rest in peace, Major Rip Marty Funkhauser. But Ben is the better character.
Yeah. I mean,
Right, thank you to name redacted commenter that Selena used Catherine's wedding as a front to escape the police. So yes, thank you. Anyway, we picked Wanda Sykes anyway. So Ben Cafferty, if Congressman Furlong wasn't on the show, he would be the most vulgar character I've ever seen in my life. Well, I take that back. Selena is also up there. But the holy trinity of potty mouth, Ben Cafferty is very important to it.
Yeah, I think Ben is hysterical. I think he's awesome. And like some of the lines he comes up with is just really, really funny. And he makes jokes all the time, like, oh, don't tell my wife I'm in the hospital so I can get some free time.
That's
right. And like Marty is really funny and he's a really good character. Rest in peace, obviously, like you said. But like Ben is just such a good character. I can't go against Ben.
Ben is like a heart attack waiting to happen. The dude, literally, the dude is like walking stress. Like you can just you get anxious just being around him. Like he's the polar opposite of Kent Davison. Like Kent Davison is even keeled, just really chill, and Ben Cafferty is through the roof. So next up we have Dan Egan versus Ted Danson. This might be the first tough one.
This is the first competitive one, I think.
This is tough. Because I like Dan. Well, like is a relative term. He's a piece of shit, like everybody else on the show, pretty much. But so is Ted Danson, really. Like we're supposed to like him early on, and we do. And then he ends up like becoming one of like the characters that you try to side against with Larry. Like he and especially later on when he starts dating Cheryl and stuff, like then he becomes like kind of contemptible. But I do love Ted Danson, but I think I have to go Dan Egan.
I'm gonna split with you. I'm gonna take Ted here.
Okay.
I like Dan as far as like I think he adds stuff to the show, but I think Ted Danson's like rivalry with Larry. I think that kind of makes it for me.
Ted Danson's real, especially in season 2. I loved when he's at Mocha Joe's shop, and Mocha Joe is like, "Do you want a cup of coffee?" He's like, "From here? No, I'm good."
And he's like, "Why can't you just fix the table?" And he's like, "That's because it's a natural feeling."
I gotta say, I gotta shout out Mocha Joe, even though he got smacked by Congressman Furlong. Mocha Joe is a great character for that season. He really was. And I'm assuming we'll see him again probably next year, whenever season 11 happens. But next up, we have this. I think isn't even close. Amy Bruckheimer versus Susie Green. Not even close.
Not even close.
It's Susie is one of the best characters on Curb. Like
and
I think other than Larry and Leon, she's probably the best character in the show.
Yeah, and neither of us, I don't think like Amy either. So
no, Amy, I think of the main crew in Selena's office, I think is the weakest character. I don't think she's as funny as the rest. And she definitely has a lot of great scenes. Like she does. She's a very powerful character in some of those scenes, and she goes through a lot. I love that. It was a real shock to me when I saw Jerry Gergich swearing on TV. Like that was weird to me. But she goes through a lot. She's a real tortured character. Susie is the opposite of that. Susie just tortures Jeff.
Yeah.
But Susie is, I mean, you want to talk about some of the best swearing you'll see on TV. Susie is just an absolute spitfire. So yeah, Susie Green is my pick there. So it's definitely yours too. I know that.
Absolutely.
Mike McClintock versus Cheryl David.
This is an easy one for me.
Is it? Who are you going with?
I'm gonna take Mike.
I think I am too.
I like Cheryl as a character. I think she fits, especially like kind of like leveling off Larry's like insanity, and like she calls him out on it, which is funny.
Yeah.
But I like Mike because he's just like really, really dumb, and I think he adds a lot to the office. Like his stupidity is like kind of like a running gag.
Yeah. Welcome to McClintock with I'm Mike McClintock. Welcome to McClintock.
Yeah.
It is funny how he has one of the not coolest, like one of the weirdest character paths on the show, where he's obviously a press secretary, then he gets fired, then he becomes like this web journalist, and then he eventually becomes, at the end of the show, he's like working for CBS. Like when we fast forward and it's Selena's funeral. But if you think about it, of her main crew, not including Richard Splett, of her main crew, he probably ends up looking the best at the end of the show.
Yeah, he doesn't look bad.
No, I don't mean physically looking. Like I meant career. Like
I mean like yeah,
legacy wise.
Yeah, legacy. No, I mean because he has his own show and he's a journalist and he's a respected journalist.
So we're both going with Mike McClintock. Yep. All right. So man, poor. Oh wait, no, that wasn't who that was supposed to be, Dave. Oh, I see. I know what happened here. I meant to put somebody else in here, and I did not. I meant to push down the Veep list one more because there's clearly somebody missing from this list, if you can tell.
Yeah, Jonah Ryan.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to give Jonah 8 points because I don't think anybody was going to beat him anyway. So I'm just going to give Jonah a clear 8 right there. We'll give him a quick shout out. Jonah Ryan is my favorite character on Veep, bar none. To me, I cannot repeat them by any stretch. But Dave knows my favorite quotes from the show oftentimes come from Jonah. He's just such an idiot, and he is a term that I first learned reading a Ringer article, a fail son, which is somebody who has a lot of chances and a lot of privilege to be powerful and have seats in power, but is just such a failure in all of those positions. And Jonah Ryan, I don't care who we put him up against in this, other than Larry David, he probably was going to beat them. So Jonah Ryan gets the honorable 8 points just for being there.
I agree. I'm with that.
All right. Let me make the 8 a little bit clearer on my sheet here. All right. Next up, we have Kent Davison against Leon Black. I love Kent Davison, but this is like the Bears and the Patriots in '85. Like there's no chance here for him.
Yeah, like we already talked about it. Like Kent's awesome, and I think he's one of the better characters, which says a lot because so many good ones. But Leon is the second best, probably the third best character on this show. I don't know, depending on where you rank Susie and Larry, but he's one of the most important characters on the show to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. Again, I love Kent. I love his cool temper and how like he just says everything in a monotone. But I mean, dude, it's Leon. It's JB Smoove, man. He other than Larry, the best character on the show, and he wasn't even introduced till season 6.
Like, and he has his own place in California, and he just stays with Larry.
Yeah, he just lives with Larry, and they're friends, and they just shoot the shit and all this stuff. But he's just a great character because he just doesn't care about anything. But he's just like friends with Larry, but they have run-ins, and it's great. I love Leon. There's no way he wasn't gonna win, no matter who he was against. The so to speak bagmen / sidekicks to these characters, the main characters, Gary Walsh versus Jeff Green.
This is what I need.
Ooh, well, we might split here, Dave.
No, I'm with Gary.
Oh, you are with Gary. Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff's that great of a character, honestly.
I think Jeff's a really good character. He's a good foil. He's good to have there. He's funny. He's got his moments. I think he's better early on, though. I think he loses his fastball a little bit.
I don't think the last few seasons, I don't think his acting's been that good, honestly.
No, there's a couple episodes where he pretty much literally phones it in. He's just kind of
he literally. I mean, it's not that good.
No, it is not. So I thought you might go with Jeff there, but here's the real tough one, Dave. Here's the big one. Selena Meyer and Larry David.
I don't know how I'm gonna pick.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. So let me plead my case here. So I think I'm going to go with Selena Meyer, and this is why. Because Larry David is Larry David, and you can identify with him, and he's definitely the more identifiable character because it's just kind of like everyday life, Seinfeld, about nothing stuff. But Selena Meyer's character arc from season 1 to 7, this just absolutely despicable person who you have no right liking, and you end up sympathizing with her throughout most of the show, and you want to see her eventually reach this post. And she gets knocked down and dragged out and all this stuff throughout so much of the show. I think I have to give it to her, as much as it pains me, because I love Larry David too. It's like a 51-49 type situation, but I think Selena is, at the end of the day, the better character.
I can see where you're coming from, and honestly, because it's so close for me, I think it'd only be right if I split the vote and take Larry David. He's just so funny, and I know like you said, he is himself, but there's only one Larry David that can do this and make you laugh and feel like it's natural, and it's not just some made up story. And for some reason, he's always been able to come across as authentic doing this. which is just because obviously he's not really like this. Like he's to a degree he is, but this is obviously an exaggerated form of him. So the fact that he's able to still do this and come up with those lines and say them and come up with the right settings, he's just a really special character. They're both just amazing characters, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we split the vote on that one. That was good. All right, Dave. So now we have random questions. We're going into this. Curb's going to need a comeback here, so we'll see how it goes. Right now, Veep dominated that category as I expected. It's up 132 to 112, so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But random questions, we got 10 of them, Dave. I think it's a good number, good round number. Better intro, not even a discussion. I mean, come on. One is memorable, one's not.
Yeah, Curb all the way, yeah.
Not even, it's like as much as I would love to try to talk about the merits of Veep's theme song, they're both really short, which I think is really interesting. But I mean, come on. Curb, that's Frolic by Luciano Michelini, I think is how you pronounce it. Great. It's like the theme of Sunny, where like it's not directly done for that show, but it's become iconic because of it.
Yeah.
The better pacing. I think Veep wins this one. Just because of how well the story was told throughout and how it was able to kind of go from season to season, arc to arc. I mean, Curb, that's the thing about Curb. It doesn't have an arc. It does have season arcs, but beyond that, it just kind of moves on to the next thing. And yes, it paces it well, but I still think Veep does it better.
And I think even if it was close, the tiebreakers, Curb took 10 years off. I mean,
that's a good point.
That's a tough thing to overcome.
All right. Points go to Veep. Next up, you know what? I'm actually going to save this one for last. I'm going to cut this one and put it down bottom. I feel like it's a good way to wrap up these two shows. Next up, we have the better themed season, The Producers or Selena's comeback in season 6.
I think The Producers, not because I think it's a better quality maybe, but I just think the idea is more unique. I think Selena's comeback was always going to happen because just the nature of the show and the business that they're in. I think The Producers was so funny the way they casted it and the way they had Ben Stiller and David Schwimmer. It was just a really, really well done idea. Yep.
So next up, I'm going to go with The Producers as well. So we're going to sweep that one for Curb. It's one of my favorite theme seasons. I love how David Schwimmer it's Ben Stiller that says it's either me or Larry, and they kick him off the production for David Schwimmer, who I think actually wasn't on a Broadway version of The Producers. But anyway, the better setting, DC versus California, LA.
This is a tough one. I don't think either one really sell it for me. I mean, DC is.
I'm going to go with DC just because I think it's more central to the Veep storyline, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with LA because I think it plays more into Larry being able to do what he wants to do with this show.
That's true. It gives him more options. Better writing. I think Veep is the clear winner here because a lot of Curb is improvised.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Veep here too. Yeah, the storylines are really good.
Veep is one of the best written shows I think I've ever seen.
It is, and the humor is always new and fresh.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. The better storyline. I already put Selena comeback, so I'm glad that we. I'm glad I read this before. Let's go with the recount season against the Spite Store season.
Spite Store all the way.
Yeah, I think I got to go with the Spite Store. I do love the recount season, but I think they could have. I think it was spread out a little bit too much, if that makes sense. The Spite Store season 10 is fantastic. One of the best Curb seasons ever.
Yeah, I think the Spite Store is just if you had to watch one season of Curb, that is the epitome of the show. That is it's petty, it's pointless, it's drawn out, it's funny, it's ridiculous.
I love how other celebrities do it, like Jonah Hill and Sean Penn and Mila Kunis all do their own Spite Store.
Mila Kunis one is really, really funny.
Yeah, I think Jonah Hill is my favorite one.
Oh yeah, that's hysterical. But yeah, the Spite Store one is I did not think it was gonna they could beat other seasons, and it came close. It's right up there with the best.
And Jonah Hill quits acting, and the guy's like, "So you're gonna quit acting?" It's every person that walks through that door and wants to eat in my deli is my own mini Oscar.
Yeah, he's so weird.
So Spite Store wins that one. More brutal human, Larry or Selena?
This is an easy one for me. I think Selena.
Yeah, I think Selena wins.
She's a public official. She's supposed to be helping people.
Yeah, and like Larry is definitely has his moments where it's really just you're slack jawed or not, your jaw's like a gape at how terrible he's being and how just immoral he is. But like you said, Selena's the vice president of the United States. You expect a little bit more. And she does some really cruel things, like treason level things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she's got to win that one. What show had the lower lows? Got to be. I mean, we're saying Curb did, so the points would go to Veep.
Yeah, Curb had the lower lows. Yeah.
Veep has never had a bad season, and from what I understand, the Fatwa season was not good.
Yeah, I didn't like the Fatwa season.
All right, higher highs.
I mean, I think this is kind of like a push.
Yeah, if you want, I'll give 3 to Veep. You can give 3 to Curb, just as a push.
Yeah, I think it's a push because they're both the highs of both shows are really, really high.
Yeah, they are. Both shows having incredible highs. I think Curb definitely has the lower lows, but the higher highs both, like we did with the episodes. It was very hard because we were tied at the end of it. They both have such amazing episodes. And Dave, the last one, which I think is the best question to ask about these shows: what show had the better swearing? So, I will say this. No one has a better F word in all of TV than Larry David. Nobody hits it and inflects it better than him. No one. It's like Steph Curry with a 3-point shot. Like nobody does it better. That being said, I have never heard more swears at once or more words that have made me laugh and been like, I can't believe that's on TV than Veep.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think another person on Curb that's a big part in swearing is Susie.
Yeah.
Susie's really good. Larry's really good. But the whole cast of Veep swears nonstop, and it's hysterical. And it doesn't even feel like it's obviously overplayed and overused, but it doesn't feel like that when they say it. Like everything feels new and fresh. Like they don't even repeat. They don't recycle jokes even. Like it's just everything is new. And it's just, I think that's what makes it so unique.
All right, Dave. That's it, and that's all. We have a winner. Our winner of Best in Show by a score of 168 to 138 is Veep. And I think it came down to the characters, really. That's what it came down to. Veep just has the better characters. The better characters, the better writing, and I think the better overall arc is what pushed it over the top.
The real question is if we have to rank the top 5 characters split from both shows, how does that go? Because I think Larry and Selena are locks.
Right. So I would say Selena Larry is 1, 2. I would say Jonas 3. I'd say Leon 4. And
do we give it a C or do we give it a Ben? Do we give it a Kent?
I would say Ben, slightly. Ben.
Yeah.
Or Gary. Could be Gary too. Gary's a great character.
Yeah. I mean, I just think like the top 3 from each show are very compatible and very comparable.
Yeah.
But then after that, the deeper bench is obviously Veep.
Yeah, like Split, Furlong, Dan. For the most part, like these are really, really stacked characters. I forgot in the tail of the tape, by the way, Veep has an 8.3 out of 10 IMDb. 65 episodes, ran from 2012 to 2019. It was 2019, right? It ended last year.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then Curb Your Enthusiasm was 8.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 101 episodes, 2000 to the present. Obviously, like you said, it took a lot of years off. So that is that. That is our winner of our next Best in Show, or our most recent Best in Show, rather, is Veep. So I know Julia Louis-Dreyfus is listening. Congratulations from the Crossing State Lines podcast to you. We're big fans. If you ever want to come to the show, we're more than welcome to have you. So Dave, I forgot to put the random questions tab up. That's what it is if you ever want to see it. So Dave, that is it for this week's episode. This first of this week's episode. We have a 2000s basketball draft coming up Tuesday with Josue Pavone. Very excited for that. That'll be great. So keep it locked Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. We'll be doing that. Maybe we'll ask him a few questions about the Celtics too. We'll see how that goes. So Dave, with that being said, where can the people find you?
You can find me at David_Albiani. You can yell at me for all my choices.
Indeed. And you can find me at Jacob_Morocco. This podcast is at CSL Podcast on Twitter. Our website is cslpodcast.com. Like I said, this episode, we will have Josue Pavone coming on for 2000s basketball draft. That'll be on Tuesday night. We have first, and also rest in peace, Alex Trebek. Absolutely an enormous gut punch for everybody who loves Jeopardy and loves great game show hosts. I want to throw that in there before we departed for the day. But everybody keep listening, and we will see you guys on Tuesday night. Cool. Let me end this broadcast.